Close your eyes now, my sweet friend. Let the soft rain begin to fall all around you, tiny gentle drops brushing against invisible leaves, so light that they barely make a sound. Just a quiet hush that wraps around your shoulders like the warmest blanket. Feel the weight of the day melting away with every droplet, every breath you take a little slower, a little deeper. Tonight, I'm going to stay right here beside you and whisper one of the most beloved bedtime stories ever told. Disney's 1994 The Lion King. The one directed by Roger Allers and Rob Minkoff. The one that made millions of hearts feel both heavy and endlessly hopeful. We're going to walk every single step of Simba's journey together. No rush, no loud voices, just my soft breath in your ear and the rain keeping us safe. And yes, I will spoil everything, every secret, every tear, every triumphant roar, because sometimes the comfort comes from knowing exactly how beautifully it all turns out in the end. Before we step onto the red earth of the Pride Lands, let me share a little secret. This film started as a project called King of the Jungle, and almost became a much more serious drama. But the animators fell so in love with Timon and Pumbaa that they turned it into the warm, funny, healing story we know today. Another tiny treasure, the very first line you hear, that deep Swahili chant Nance Ingonyama Bagithi Baba, was performed by a South African composer named Lebo M, who recorded it in a bathroom in Los Angeles because the natural reverb sounded perfect. Feel how those voices still vibrate inside your chest even now, like distant thunder that promises only good dreams. You're lying down so perfectly, aren't you? Let your head sink a little deeper into the pillow. Good. Have you ever noticed how some stories feel like they were written just to hold you when you're tired? That's what tonight is for. I want you to imagine the African savanna at the edge of sleep, golden grass swaying, warm breeze carrying the scent of dry earth and distant acacia trees. Somewhere out there, a tiny cub is about to be born, and the whole world is waiting to sing for him, and for you. Here's a gentle question to carry into the dream with us. When was the last time you felt truly seen, truly celebrated, just for being you? Let that thought rest softly on your heart, while the rain keeps falling. Another whisper. James Earl Jones agreed to voice Mufasa because his own father had left when he was young, and he wanted to give the world the strong, loving father he wished he'd had. Can you feel the tenderness in that? Somewhere inside, we're all little cubs hoping someone will lift us up to the light. You're breathing so beautifully now, slow and easy. In a moment, we'll watch the sun rise over Pride Rock together, but first, let the rain wash away anything that feels heavy. Let my voice be the soft paw that brushes your worries aside. There's nothing you need to do, nowhere you need to be, except right here, drifting, listening, letting the circle of life cradle you the same way it cradles Simba from his very first breath. Whenever you're ready, take one more deep breath in, and let it out with a tiny sigh. Perfect. The animals are already gathering, the sky is turning rose gold, and Rafiki is climbing the great rock with something very precious in his arms. The story is beginning, and it's beginning only for you. The rain keeps its gentle rhythm, soft as a mother's heartbeat, while the first golden rays of dawn stretch across the vast Pride Lands like warm honey poured over red earth. You can almost feel the heat rising from the ground, smell the dust that dances in the light, taste the faint sweetness of morning on the air. Look, far in the distance, Pride Rock stands tall and proud, its curved spine carved by centuries of wind and sun, glowing rose and amber as the sky wakes up. Every creature is moving toward it, drawn by something ancient and beautiful. Elephants sway their heavy bodies in slow procession, ears flapping softly like great gray sails. Giraffes bend their long necks in graceful bows, their spotted coats catching the light in tiny sparkling patches. Antelope leap in quiet joy, hooves barely touching the ground, while zebras walk in perfect black and white harmony. Even the birds, bright flashes of red and blue and yellow, circle overhead in wide, lazy spirals, singing the same song that has opened this story for 31 years. Nans Ingonyama Bagiti Baba. Here comes a lion. At the very top of Pride Rock, Queen Seraphina stands calm and regal, her golden fur shimmering. But it is Sarabi, Mufasa's queen, who truly commands the morning. She is tired, beautifully tired, because moments ago she brought new life into the world. The animals gather in perfect silence now, waiting. And then Rafiki appears, old, wise, painted in red and white, his staff clicking softly against the stone as he climbs. In his arms, wrapped in a soft bundle of fruit skin, is the tiny newborn prince. You can see his little pink paws, his closed eyes, the delicate twitch of his whiskers as he dreams his very first dreams. Rafiki lifts him high, just as the sun crests the horizon, and the light catches the cub perfectly, turning him into pure gold. A soft gasp moves through the kingdom like wind through grass. The mandrill smiles, shakes his rattle of baobab fruit, gentle maraca sounds that feel like a lullaby, then carefully rubs a line of red earth across the cub's forehead, marking him as heir. The little one sneezes, so small, so perfect, and the animals erupt in quiet celebration. Elephants trumpet low and warm, birds burst into chorus, and the earth itself seems to breathe a sigh of pride. His name, whispered on the breeze, is Simba. Let me pause here and ask you something very softly. Do you remember the first time someone looked at you the way Rafiki looks at Simba, like you were the sunrise itself? Hold that memory gently, like a warm stone in your palm. Years pass in the gentle blink of sleepy eyes. The rain outside your window is still falling, slow and steady, washing the world clean. Little Simba is no longer a helpless newborn. He is a bouncing, curious cub with fur the color of warm sand and eyes bright as morning dew. One dawn, while the sky is still soft lavender, he pounces on his father's massive paw. Mufasa, king of everything the light touches, opens one golden eye and rumbles a laugh so deep you feel it in your chest. Simba, he says, voice like distant thunder wrapped in velvet. Let the day begin. The cub squeals with delight and races up the side of Pride Rock, tiny claws scratching lightly on stone, tail flicking like a banner. From the very top he looks out, and the whole kingdom spreads before him, rivers glinting like silver ribbons, forests dark and cool, plains shimmering gold. His small chest swells with wonder. Mufasa joins him, huge and calm, mane flowing like fire in the breeze. He teaches his son the delicate balance of life. Everything you see exists together in a delicate balance, he murmurs, and you can almost feel the warmth of his breath near your ear. When we die, our bodies become the grass, and the antelope eat the grass, and so we are all connected in the great circle of life. Simba listens, wide-eyed, trying so hard to understand something so big with his little heart. Can you remember being that small, trying to hold the whole world in your mind? It's okay if it felt heavy sometimes. Mufasa's voice is here now, reminding us both that we don't have to carry it alone. Later that morning, Simba races to find his uncle Scar in the shadowy cave. Scar lies on a ledge of rock, green eyes half closed, voice smooth and oily like spilled honey. He plants the first dangerous seed, the elephant graveyard beyond the borders, a forbidden place full of bones and mystery. Simba's ears perk up, curiosity burning brighter than caution. He runs to tell Nala, his best friend, a creamy-furred cub with eyes like blue pools. Together they scheme, voices hushed and excited, promising each other they'll be careful. Their mothers wash them for the visit to the waterhole, rough tongues scrubbing behind ears while the cubs squirm and giggle. Zazu, the prim hornbill majordomo, is assigned to watch them. He flaps importantly, lecturing about responsibility, but the moment he turns his back, Simba and Nala sing their mischievous little anthem, "I just can't wait to be king," dancing through startled flocks of animals in bursts of color and laughter. Monkeys swing overhead. Flamingos form perfect pink lines that the cubs joyfully scatter, and for a moment the whole world is nothing but play. But they slip away from Zazu, hearts pounding with delicious danger, and race toward the misty border, where the light fades and bones rise like broken towers from the earth. Steam hisses from geysers, vultures circle lazily, and the air smells sharp, metallic, wrong. The cubs creep forward, paws silent on cracked ground, eyes huge. They climb a massive rib cage, pretend it's a castle, until 3 hyenas slink out of the shadows, Shenzi, Bonsai, and Ed, with their crooked smiles and hungry laughs. The chase begins. You can hear the frantic panting, the skitter of claws on bone, the cubs' terrified squeaks. They tumble into a thorn thicket just as Mufasa arrives, answering Zazu's frantic alarm. The great king roars, and the sound rolls like thunder, shaking the very ground. The hyenas flee. Mufasa's eyes are full of anger and love in equal measure. He scolds Simba gently, then carries him home on his strong back, the cub's small body rising and falling with each powerful step. That night, under a blanket of stars so thick they look like spilled sugar, Mufasa takes Simba to a quiet hill. The cub is ashamed, ears flat, voice tiny. "I was just trying to be brave like you." Mufasa nuzzles him, warm breath ruffling soft fur. "I'm only brave when I have to be. Being brave doesn't mean you go looking for trouble." Then he points to the sky. "Look at the stars. The great kings of the past look down on us from those stars. So whenever you feel alone, just remember that those kings will always be there to guide you. And so will I." Simba presses close, feeling the steady heartbeat of his father, and for one perfect moment, everything is safe. Here's a quiet trivia to rest with. The stars scene was animated by one artist working alone for months because he wanted every star to feel like a real ancestor watching over the cub. And another soft question: has there ever been a night when you looked up at the stars and felt someone you love looking back? Let that feeling stay with you now, warm and close. The rain has grown even softer, barely a whisper against the leaves. You're safe, you're held. And little Simba is sleeping under his father's paw, dreaming of the king he will one day become. The rain has settled into the gentlest possible pattern now, almost like fingertips brushing your hair, slow, slow, slow. Let it carry you deeper. We are stepping into the part of the story that feels heavy at first, but I promise I will hold your hand the entire way, and we will never let the darkness win. Breathe in, breathe out. Good. Morning again, soft gold and lavender. But something in the air tastes different, metallic, waiting. Scar has spent the night pacing in his dark cave, green eyes glowing like poisoned embers, rehearsing every silky word. He calls Simba to him with the smoothest voice you ever heard, low and warm, like melted chocolate hiding broken glass. Your father has a marvelous surprise for you, he purrs, tongue curling around each syllable. The cub's ears flick forward, tail high with hope. Scar tells him to wait in the gorge, to practice his roar, promising Mufasa will be so proud. Simba bounds away, heart light, paws kicking up tiny clouds of dust that sparkle in the early light. You can almost feel the dry earth under your own fingertips, the heat already rising from the red walls of the gorge as Simba scrambles down the steep slope, claws clicking on loose stones. He finds a perfect boulder, chest puffed, and lets out the tiniest, sweetest roar you ever heard, more squeak than thunder. It echoes off the canyon walls, bouncing back to him like laughter. Far above, Scar slinks to the edge and drops a single red flower petal into the wind. That is the signal. In the distance, a herd of wildebeest lifts its 1,000 heads at once. Something has startled them, a sudden crack of thunder from hyena paws, and they begin to move. First a trot, then a gallop, then a river of muscle and horn and terror pouring straight toward the narrow gorge. The ground trembles. Dust rises in choking clouds. Simba feels it before he hears it, the vibration traveling up his little legs, making his heart stutter. He looks up, and the walls of the gorge are suddenly alive with pounding hooves. His eyes go huge, golden, terrified. He tries to climb, claws scrabbling, slipping on loose gravel, tiny panicked cries lost beneath the roar of the herd. Mufasa is with Scar on the ridge when the betrayal begins. Scar's voice is casual poison. The little roar certainly started something. Mufasa's mane flares like fire. He leaps, a red-gold streak against the sky, bounding down impossible cliffs, muscles rippling under his fur, every movement, pure father love. He reaches the gorge floor just as the wildebeest flood in. You can almost taste the dust in your own throat, feel the wind whipped by 1,000 bodies. Mufasa spots Simba clinging to a dead tree that juts from the cliff like a broken finger. He roars, not in anger but in promise, and plunges into the stampede. Hooves hammer around him, horns slash the air, but he keeps moving, keeps reaching, until he grabs Simba by the scruff and hurls him to safety on a rocky ledge. The cub scrambles up, coughing, shaking, crying, "Dad! Dad!" Mufasa tries to climb after him, claws digging into crumbling rock, but a mass of wildebeest slams into him and he falls back into the river of bodies. Here is where your heart might want to close. Let the rain hold it open for you. Let my voice stay soft. Mufasa fights his way to the cliff wall again, claws bleeding, breath ragged. He almost makes it. One paw reaches the top, and there is Scar, eyes cold and triumphant. Scar leans close, whispers, "Long live the king," and sinks his claws into Mufasa's paws. You can feel the betrayal like ice water down your spine. Mufasa's golden eyes widen in shock, in pain, in love that never wavers even now. Scar lets go. Mufasa falls, slowly, so slowly, mane streaming like a comet, until he hits the ground and the herd thunders over him, and everything goes quiet except Simba's broken scream, "No!" The dust settles. The wildebeest are gone. Simba slides down the cliff on trembling legs, paws slipping in blood-wet earth. He finds his father lying still among the rocks, mane spread like spilled fire, eyes closed forever. Simba noses under the great paw, voice tiny and cracked. "Dad? Dad, come on, we gotta go home." He tries to lift the heavy head, pushes with his whole body, tears falling hot onto golden fur. "Help! Somebody! Anybody!" Only silence answers. Scar appears behind him, voice dripping false sorrow. "What have you done?" Simba sobs that the herd came and he tried to save him. But Scar twists every word until Simba believes the lie. It was his little roar that started the stampede, his fault. He killed his father. Scar tells him to run away and never return. The hyenas close in, laughing, snapping. Simba runs, small body flashing through twisted thorns that tear at his fur until he collapses at the edge of a desert of bones and sand. Let me pause here and ask you very gently, have you ever carried a guilt that felt too big for your heart, a moment you replayed until it bruised you? Simba is carrying it now, and I want you to breathe with him. In, out. You are not alone in that feeling, and neither is he. Trivia whispered like a secret. The animators cried while drawing Mufasa's death scene. Some had to leave the room. They said it felt like drawing the death of their own fathers. Another soft fact. When Mufasa falls, there is exactly one frame where his eyes are open and looking straight at Simba. A single frame of pure love that most people never notice. It's still there, watching over him, watching over you. The hyenas chase Simba into a tunnel of thorns. Branches whip his face, draw tiny lines of blood, but he keeps running until he tumbles out the other side and collapses under a sky so wide it hurts. Vultures circle lower and lower. His sides heave, his eyes flutter, and just when the darkness almost takes him, a huge shadow falls across his body. Not death. A warthog and a meerkat. Pumbaa and Timon. They think he's lunch at first, then realize he's just a broken little cub. Pumbaa's big eyes fill with tears. Timon sighs. "Kid, what happened to you?" Simba whispers that he did something terrible. Timon exchanges a look with Pumbaa and says the kindest words anyone has ever said to him. "Hey, past is past. We all make mistakes. You're with us now." They carry him gently to the edge of a cool green jungle, lay him under broad leaves where fireflies begin to glow like tiny stars. The rain outside has become almost silent now, just a memory of water. You're doing so beautifully. Let your shoulders sink. Let your jaw soften. Simba is safe for the moment, and so are you. The rain has faded into the softest mist now, barely touching the leaves. Just a cool kiss on warm skin. You can almost smell the wet earth of the jungle where Simba wakes for the first time without guilt pressing on his chest. The air is thick with green, heavy with the scent of wet leaves and overripe fruit, warm and sweet like syrup. Sunlight drips through the canopy in slow golden ribbons, painting spots on his fur the color of toasted bread. Birds call in liquid notes. Insects hum a lazy lullaby. And somewhere nearby a waterfall whispers over smooth stones. Timon is curled on a leaf like a tiny brown kama, snoring in little puffs. Pumbaa lies on his back, round belly rising and falling, 4 stubby legs in the air, dreaming warthog dreams. Simba opens his eyes slowly, golden, still red-rimmed from crying, but for the first time in days there is no immediate terror waiting for him. Timon wakes with a start, sees the cub watching him, and offers the gentlest possible smile. "Hey, kid! You hungry?" They lead him to a log full of wriggling grubs, creamy white and pink, glistening like tiny pearls. Simba wrinkles his nose. Pumbaa, voice soft as warm bread, says, "They taste like chicken." Simba hesitates, then takes one. The texture is strange, soft and a little crunchy, bursting with earthy sweetness on his tongue. He laughs, surprised, and suddenly the 3 of them are rolling in the leaves, giggling like children who have discovered the world can still be kind. That night they lie on their backs, under a sky full of unfamiliar stars, and Timon and Pumbaa teach him the words that will become his lullaby for years. Hakuna Matata. It means no worries. Simba repeats it slowly, tasting the freedom in every syllable. Let me ask you something very quietly. When was the last time someone gave you permission to put the past down, even for one evening? Feel that permission settle over you now, like the softest blanket. Years drift by the way dreams do, slow and sun-soaked. We watch Simba grow in gentle montage. He learns to swing from vines, thick green ropes that creak under his weight, leaves brushing his whiskers like cool fingers. He learns to cannonball into turquoise pools, water exploding around him in diamond droplets that catch the light and fall back like warm rain. He eats his first slimy yet satisfying grub platter and licks his chops with a grin. His mane begins to grow, first just a reddish fuzz around his neck, then thicker, wild, the color of sunset. His voice drops from squeaky cub to something deeper, warmer, still carrying laughter at the edges. Timon rides on his back like a tiny cowboy shouting directions. Pumbaa bowls over palm trees so they can feast on fresh hearts of palm, sweet and crisp. They sing under waterfalls, voices echoing in perfect silly harmony. And every time Simba tries to remember the weight of the gorge, it feels a little farther away, wrapped in green leaves and friendship. Trivia tucked gently here. The Hakuna Matata sequence was almost cut because executives thought it was too silly. The animators fought for it because they knew the audience would need that exact moment of pure joy after Mufasa's death. They were right. Another soft fact. The jungle they escaped to is based on real places in Costa Rica and Kenya mixed together. Every leaf hand-drawn, every beam of light painted by artists who wanted you to feel safe there. One lazy afternoon, they lie on a route that curves over a quiet river. Timon and Pumbaa snore in the heat. Simba gazes into the water and sees his reflection. A young adult lion, strong, handsome, eyes still holding shadows. He whispers to himself, "I'm not who I'm supposed to be." The words taste like dust. Somewhere deep inside, a small cub is still waiting in a gorge that never stops thundering. Then, without warning, a blur of cream and teal explodes from the grass. Nala. She has grown into a sleek, graceful lioness, eyes the color of rain-washed sky. She pins Simba before she recognizes him, claws gentle but firm. They tumble, laughing, rolling down the bank into shallow water that splashes cool across their fur. When she realizes who he is, her voice breaks. "Simba?" They stare, inches apart, breath mingling, hearts remembering every childhood promise. That night, they walk under strings of fireflies that glow like living lanterns. The air smells of night-blooming jasmine, sweet and heady. Nala tells him what happened after he disappeared. Scar took the throne, let the hyenas overrun everything, turned the once golden Pride lands into a gray wasteland where bones outnumber blades of grass and the rivers have forgotten how to flow. She begs him to come home. Simba turns away, voice raw. I can't go back. What would it say about me that I'm a coward? Nala's eyes fill with tears. You're not a coward. You're Mufasa's son. They argue under the stars, voices soft but aching. Nala says running away never solved anything. Simba snaps that she doesn't understand what he did. She leaves at dawn, tail low, heartbroken twice. Once for her home, once for the lion she thought would save it. Simba wanders alone, paws heavy, until he collapses beneath a baobab tree whose roots twist like old fingers. The sky above is huge and indifferent. He claws at the ground, tears falling hot into red dirt. A strange smell drifts on the breeze, fruit and paint and wisdom. Click-clack, click-clack. A staff taps the earth. Rafiki appears through the leaves, blue buttocks flashing, grin wide and knowing. Who are you? Simba growls. The mandrill laughs, high and musical. The question is, who are you? They chase through the trees, Simba frustrated, Rafiki always one branch ahead, until the old monkey points to the surface of a pool. Look! Simba sees only his own adult face. Rafiki says softly, he lives in you. Suddenly the water ripples, and Mufasa's face appears among the stars reflected there. The clouds part. The great king's spirit forms in the sky, vast and gentle, mane flowing like liquid fire. His voice rolls like warm thunder. Simba, you have forgotten who you are. You are my son, and the one true king. Remember who you are. Remember. The vision fades. Simba stands trembling, tears streaming, but for the first time in years his heart feels bigger than his guilt. Gentle question, whispered close. Have you ever heard a voice from your past, maybe your own younger voice, calling you back to who you were before the world made you smaller? Let it call you now, softly, kindly. The mist outside has become pure stillness. You are floating. Simba is running, paws pounding through night jungle, fireflies streaking past like tiny comets. Timon and Pumbaa watch him go, proud and a little sad. Rafiki dances on his tree, laughing. It is time. The circle is turning again. The night air is cool now, almost weightless, like silk brushing across your skin. You can feel the change in temperature the way Simba feels it as he races across the border, leaving the lush green jungle behind and stepping once more onto the cracked gray earth of the Pride lands. The grass that used to tickle his belly when he was a cub is gone. Only brittle stalks remain, snapping under his paws like tiny dry bones. The sky is the color of old ash, heavy with smoke from hyena fires. The scent that reaches him is wrong. Dust and rot and despair instead of warm rain and acacia blossom. His heart thumps so loudly he feels it in his throat, but his legs do not slow. Every stride is a promise he is finally keeping. Far ahead, Pride Rock stands like a tired old king itself, its proud curve dulled by years of neglect, its base crawling with hyena shadows. Simba's mane catches what little moonlight there is, turning it into dark fire. Nala is already there. She and the other lionesses have begun the fight. You can hear it before you see it. Low growls, the slap of paw against fur, the sharp yips of hyenas scattering in surprise. Simba crests the final ridge, and the scene spreads below him like a nightmare he once tried to outrun. His mother Sarabi lies on the ground, bleeding from a shallow cut on her shoulder, Scar towering over her with claws raised. Scar's voice drips venom. As you can see, my teeth are still sharp. Simba feels something inside him snap, not with fear, but with the purest, cleanest anger he has ever known. He roars. One single roar. Adult. Deep. Unbroken. It rolls across the barren plain like thunder finding its voice again. Every head turns. Scar freezes. The hyenas whimper. Even the wind seems to pause. Simba leaps down the rocks in 3 powerful bounds, landing between Scar and Sarabi. His mother's eyes, clouded with pain and exhaustion, suddenly shine with impossible light. "Simba?" she breathes, voice cracking like sunrise. He nuzzles her gently, nose to wet nose, breathing in the familiar scent of milk and dust and home that he thought he had lost forever. "I'm home," he whispers, and the words taste like forgiveness. Scar circles slowly, trying to twist the moment back into his claws. He calls Simba the murderer, repeating the old lie loud enough for every hyena ear. Simba's shoulders tense. The guilt flickers across his face like a dying ember. Then Sarabi speaks, soft but steady. "No, Mufasa's death was no accident. Scar, you told us Simba died with him." The truth lands like cool rain on burning ground. Scar snarls, cornered, and in his panic he says the one thing he never meant to. "I was the one who killed Mufasa." The hyenas gasp, the lioness's bare teeth that suddenly look very, very sharp. Lightning cracks across the sky, and the first fat drops of rain begin to fall. Real rain, the first in years, drumming on stone and hide and bone. The battle begins in earnest. It is not pretty, but it is honest. Lionesses surge forward in waves of gold and fury. Hyenas yelp and scatter. Timon and Pumbaa arrive like the best kind of miracle. Pumbaa charges straight through a pack of hyenas, wearing a grass skirt and a wild grin, shouting, "They call me Mr. Pig," while Timon rides on his back swinging a stick. Zazu swoops overhead, pecking at hyena ears. Rafiki swings from Pride Rock's crevices, staff whirling, laughing his high mad laugh. The rain thickens, turning dust to red mud that slicks fur and claws. Simba fights his way up the slippery rocks towards Scar, who has retreated to the very summit where the kings are crowned. Scar is soaked, mane plastered to his skull, eyes wild. He tries one last trick, pleading, calling Simba brother, offering to blame everything on the hyenas. Simba's voice is quiet steel. "No, Scar, I'm not going to kill you. You're going to leave, and you're never coming back." For one heartbeat, Scar almost believes mercy is real. Then he flings burning embers from a nearby fire straight into Simba's eyes. The pain is blinding, white-hot. Simba staggers. Scar lunges, claws out, teeth aiming for the throat. But Simba has learned something Scar never did. How to fight with love instead of hate. He twists at the last second, catches Scar's forelegs, and flips him over the edge of Pride Rock. Scar falls, lands hard among the rocks below, coughing and laughing that broken laugh. The hyenas slink out of the shadows, eyes glowing. Scar tries to blame them, voice high and panicked. Shenzi smiles, slow and terrible. Friends? I thought you said we were the enemy. The pack closes in. Their shadows swallow Scar whole. The last thing you hear is a single, choked snarl cut short. The rain is pouring now, thick silver sheets that wash blood from stone and tears from faces. Simba stands at the edge, chest heaving, watching the hyenas scatter into the night like smoke. Rafiki climbs up beside him, places one gentle hand on his shoulder. It is time. Simba looks up. The clouds are parting. A single shaft of sunlight strikes Pride Rock, turning every raindrop into a tiny prism. He begins to climb the final steps. Each pawfall is deliberate, heavy with the weight of every promise he ever made to his father. When he reaches the promontory, the same place where Rafiki once held him as a newborn, he stops. The wind lifts his mane. The land below is already turning green at the edges. You can almost see the grass breathing again. Simba throws back his head and roars. It is not a cub's squeak. It is not even just his father's echo. It is Simba's own voice, full and unbroken, claiming his place in the circle. The lionesses answer from below, deep and proud. The earth itself answers, rumbling like a great heart starting again. Far away, elephants trumpet. Birds burst from the cliffs in rivers of color. The rain slows to a gentle blessing. Soft question, whispered only for you. Can you feel the moment when everything inside you lines up? Past, present, future? And suddenly you know exactly who you are? Let that moment rest in your chest now, warm and quiet. One final gentle trivia. When Simba roars at the end, the animators used the exact same roar sound that Mufasa used earlier, but they layered Simba's adult voice over it, father and son together forever. Nala climbs the rock slowly, eyes shining. Beside her walks Sarabi, limping but proud. They nuzzle Simba slow and reverent. Timon and Pumbaa stand at the base, waving tiny paws, crying happy tears. Rafiki lifts the new king and queen in one joyful embrace. Months later, the Pride lands are emerald again, rivers laughing over stones, babies playing where bones once lay. And at dawn, just like the very first morning, Rafiki climbs Pride Rock once more. In his arms is a tiny new cub, Simba and Nala's daughter, fur-kissed by the first light. He lifts her high. The circle turns. The animals sing. The sun rises, perfect and whole. You are smiling. I can feel it. Good. Hold that smile all the way into sleep. The rain has become the softest memory now. Only the occasional drop sliding down a leaf somewhere far away, like the last note of a lullaby that refuses to end. The Pride lands are quiet again, bathed in that perfect golden after-dawn light that only exists in dreams and in the final frames of this story. You can almost feel the warm red rock of Pride Rock under your own back, the gentle wind lifting your hair the same way it lifts Simba's new mane as he stands beside Nala, watching their tiny daughter blink at the vast world she has just inherited. The circle of life has turned full, and everything is exactly where it is meant to be. Let your whole body sink a little deeper now, every muscle, every finger, every toe. Let the savannah hold you. Let the ancestors in the stars keep watch. You have walked every paw step with Simba tonight. From the first moment he was lifted to the sunrise, through the darkest gorge, across years of running, and all the way back home again. You felt the weight of guilt, the sweetness of grubs on curious tongues, the cool splash of jungle water, the sting of rain on bleeding scars, and finally the warm, clean breath of forgiveness. You carried it all, and you never once looked away. That is brave. That is beautiful. Here is the gentlest question I will ever ask you, and you do not have to answer out loud. Just let it settle like a firefly landing on your heart. What part of your own story are you finally ready to come home to? Whatever it is waiting for you with the same patience Mufasa showed in the clouds, the same stubborn love Timon and Pumbaa offered under the stars, the same quiet strength Nala carried across a dying land. You are not late. You are not too broken. You are right on time, and you are so very loved. One last tiny trivia before I tuck you in. When the film premiered in 1994, children all over the world started looking up at the night sky and whispering, "I love you," to parents and grandparents who had already become stars. Some still do it tonight, 31 years later. Maybe you will too. The animals are going home now, slow and sleepy. Elephants sway into the mist. Zebras fade into silver grass. Even the hyenas, somewhere far away, have learned the taste of silence. Rafiki sits on his baobab branch, shaking his rattle once, twice, soft as a heartbeat, then rests his staff across his lap and closes his eyes. Simba curls around Nala and their cub, one massive paw draped protectively, breathing slow and steady, the same rhythm you are breathing now. In, out, in, out. There is nothing left to do. No more battles, no more running. Only this moment, this gentle dark, this quiet knowing that everything is going to be okay. The circle holds you. Friendship holds you. Love, in all its forms, holds you. And I am still right here, whispering until the very last flicker of consciousness drifts away. Sleep now, my dear one. Sleep deep and sweet. Dream of wide golden plains and warm lion breath and tiny cub paws reaching for the sunrise. Dream of home, wherever yours may be. And when you wake tomorrow, may you carry just a little of Simba's roar inside your chest, soft, steady, and unafraid. Good night. Hakuna Matata. Asante Sana. The rain has stopped completely. Only peace remains.